It begins so quietly that no one, not even you, realizes the shift taking place. You're a child, small enough that your feet don't touch the floor when you sit, yet somehow already carrying the emotional weight of people 3 times your size. The adults around you are wrestling with storms they don't know how to contain. Rage, sadness, addiction, numbness, whatever shape their struggle takes, it spills into the air you breathe. You learn early that emotions have sharp edges, that words can be thrown like stones, that silence can be loud enough to shake the walls of a home. And so, without instruction, without language for what you're doing, you begin to adapt. You soften your steps, you quiet your needs, you stretch yourself thin so no one else has to break. You watch, you listen, you anticipate. This is the moment your childhood begins to dissolve. Not all at once, but piece by piece. You start noticing where the tension rises, where the shadows gather under someone's eyes, where the tone in the room shifts from calm to dangerous. You become a master of emotional forecasting, reading expressions, interpreting sighs, memorizing routines. You adjust your behavior to avoid adding to the weight others already carry. You dim yourself so no one else has to face their own darkness. People see the outcome, but not the price. They see a child who doesn't cause trouble, who behaves, who helps, who understands. They praise you for being strong, responsible, easy. But underneath every compliment is a part of you that aches because you know the truth. None of this is strength. It is survival shaped into a smile. As you grow, you learn to stay out of the way, to put others' needs above your own, to earn love by being useful, to earn safety by being quiet. You learn that the quickest way to stop conflict is to stop existing in the places where conflict grows. So you step back, you shrink, you become small in all the ways that matter. And the adults, overwhelmed by their own pain, never notice the disappearance, not because they're cruel, but because they never learned how to see emotional needs even in themselves. The years go by and the same child who learned to disappear continues the same patterns in silence. The hypervigilance becomes a second skin. You begin anticipating stress before it arrives. You squeeze yourself into roles that aren't yours. You bury your emotions because your body remembers what happens when you let them show. You learn to soothe others long before you learn to soothe yourself. You learn to listen long before you learn to speak. You learn to love others long before you learn to love yourself. By the time you reach adolescence, you feel older than your peers. You hold secrets you never should have heard. You carry responsibilities that were never yours to carry. You don't know how to ask for help because asking feels like burdening and burdening feels dangerous. So you hold everything inside until holding becomes your identity. You become the reliable one, the steady one, the one people lean on because you never seem to need anything. But the truth is that needing something has always been your deepest fear. Your nervous system stays on high alert even when the danger is gone. You become sensitive to tone, to mood shifts, to the slightest hint of withdrawal or disappointment. You build relationships where you give more than you ever receive, not out of generosity, but out of habit. Love becomes a place where you work, where you try, fix, shape, soothe, not a place where you rest. You overfunction in every area of your life. You say yes when you're exhausted. You help when you're breaking. You apologize when you've done nothing wrong. You stay quiet when your heart is screaming. You keep peace even when it harms you, and people admire you for it. But admiration is not the same as intimacy. Respect is not the same as care. Being needed is not the same as being loved. Deep inside, the abandoned child waits. Small, frightened, hopeful. They wait for someone to ask how they are. They wait for someone to notice the sadness behind your strength. the exhaustion behind your kindness. They wait for someone to say you don't have to hold the world together anymore. But no one comes. Not because you're unworthy, but because you spent your whole life hiding the places where you hurt. So adulthood becomes a continuation of the same survival. You're praised for being understanding, for being selfless, for being calm under pressure. But no one sees the panic that rises when someone is disappointed, the guilt that consumes you when you take even a moment for yourself, the fear that rests in your chest when someone gets too close, the confusion you feel when someone offers help instead of taking it. Rest feels suspicious. Joy feels unfamiliar. Softness feels dangerous. Love feels like debt. You confuse exhaustion with success because being tired is the only state you know. You confuse anxiety with intuition because your body has never lived outside of survival mode. You confuse emotional labor with connection because giving is the only way you've ever felt safe. Healing begins the moment you stop telling yourself, "It wasn't that bad." Healing begins the moment you stop comparing your pain to someone else's. Healing begins the moment you finally whisper the truth you've kept buried. I was a child carrying things meant for adults. I was overwhelmed. I was scared. I deserved more. Healing begins when you stop abandoning yourself the way others abandoned you. And slowly, sometimes painfully, you begin turning inward. You begin meeting your inner child where they are, guarded, lonely, aching. You begin giving yourself the tenderness you were denied. You begin asking yourself questions no one asked you back then. What did I need? What did I miss? What did I feel? What did I lose while holding everything together? You feel grief. The grief of lost innocence, lost safety, lost childhood. You feel anger, the anger at being forced into roles you never chose. You feel sorrow, the sorrow of realizing how long you've lived without a sense of home inside yourself. These emotions do not break you, they free you. Because the moment you allow yourself to feel is the moment you stop disappearing. And in the emptiness left behind by old survival patterns, something new begins to grow. You start setting boundaries, not to push people away, but to keep yourself whole. You begin resting, not because you've earned it, but because you deserve it. You begin saying no, not because you're unkind, but because your well-being matters. You begin asking for help, not because you're weak, but because you're human. You begin realizing that love is not something you perform. It's something you receive. It's something you are allowed to have without working for it. For the first time, you imagine a life where you don't have to monitor every emotional temperature in the room. A life where calm feels safe instead of suspicious. A life where joy feels natural instead of foreign. A life where you can let go without everything falling apart. A life where you don't have to hold everyone together to feel worthy. The child inside you, the one who waited in silence, begins to trust you. They begin to emerge from the shadows. They begin to feel the warmth of being seen, being valued, being held. You didn't grow up too fast because you were meant to be strong. You grew up too fast because no one taught you that you had the right to be small. But now, finally, you get to choose a different path. You get to grow at your own pace. You get to reclaim the parts of yourself you lost in the chaos. You get to build a life based on truth, not fear. You get to become someone who doesn't disappear, but someone who belongs, someone who feels, someone who breathes freely, someone who is finally, fully allowed to be here.